long ago. Blitz Games finished their SpongeBob game Creature from the Krusty Krab in 2006.
Okay.
It was an instant classic that had unique levels we had never seen in a SpongeBob game before. It was a gem for its time.
Sure it was.
It had us go on an adventure we would never experience in any other game.
Oh, really?
Unfortunately, that game is still slept on. No pun intended. However, that wasn't all for Blitz Games. Less than a year later, Blitz Games were hired again to make a video game adaptation to a forgettable TV special known as Atlantis SquarePantis. Oh my. This game is about music, and we all love us some good music, right? Well, this game is slept on in the community. A lot of people don't want to at least respect the fan service. But is Atlantis SquarePantis an acceptable game for a yellow fellow? Does it give off the vibe that a SpongeBob game should? Is it really just another crappy licensed game, or is it decent when you put the bias aside? Well, only one way to find out.
Story time!
Oh boy! Story time! Story time! Story time!
Story time?
Before me, fools! How did SpongeBob's trip to Atlantis end this way? Who can stop Plankton's rampage of destruction? Do you want to drive a really cool tank?
After showing some of the falling action at the beginning, the Atlantis SquarePantis game begins with good old Plankton. You know the drill. I will be covering the entire story, so skip to here if you don't want to hear it, lads. Plankton drives his tank all the way through Atlantis, shooting defenses along the way. This lasts all the way until Plankton makes it to the Royal Palace, bumping into SpongeBob and his friends at a bad time, leading to a flashback to show us how they got into this mess. From there, we have reanimation of what happened at the start of the special, where SpongeBob uses Atlantis bubble soap, accidentally creates a giant bubble around him and Patrick, and the two fly into a cavern. This leads to the second level, where SpongeBob and Patrick try to find their way out of the cave. It's essentially a few puzzles. SpongeBob and Patrick eventually find a missing piece to an Atlantean amulet, you know, just like the special. So they decide to take it to the Bikini Bottom Museum. There we see Mr. Krabs outside the Bikini Bottom Museum just like the special it's based on, with a few changes we'll talk about later. In the third level, we take pictures of a lot of the stuff in the Bikini Bottom Museum, even though no flash photography is allowed here.
Mother.
Hey you! No flash photography!
Squidward and Sandy soon see SpongeBob and Patrick. They add the missing piece to the amulet, which opens up the path to Atlantis, so they all get on the magical flying bus and sing, quote-unquote, to keep the bus filled with song fuel, until Patrick fucks everything up and they crash.
My turn! My turn! My turn! I'm Patrick, and I don't know what to sing.
Warning! You will run out of song fuel.
This leads to the gang driving the bus on ground floor, collecting toolkits to repair the bus. After all that, of course, we meet the King of Atlantis. So what does that mean? Duh, a royal tour.
Welcome.
This is where we begin to explore all the rooms in the episode. Of course not manually. Characters switch up between rooms as they venture off inside the palace. We just try not to miss any buttons. And then they just keep walking. Fake ass friends, man. After that, Sandy helps Mr. Krabs gather treasure with her Bubble Collector 2000. Meanwhile, Squidward was in the art room having Atlanteans paint him as he poses. At last, some culture. Then it's Patrick's turn to get behind the camera. He takes unauthorized flash photos just like SpongeBob did earlier, and eventually ends up popping a prop of the oldest living bubble. Only to reveal it was just a prop, the king shows the real one. Then Patrick pops that one too, what a bitch. So then the entire palace is against SpongeBob and his friends.
Summon the Atlantean Royal Guard.
We have then reached the climax at that point. So what does that mean? It means they have to escape the palace and go back home. So while that's going down, we have Plankton over here sneaking inside the palace. Sandy shoots up the whole palace before the gang officially exits. Then we see Plankton in his tank again, only to get right back to where we were at the start. So yeah, that was pretty much the whole story. Plankton just then realizes that his tank shoots ice cream, so no harm done to the gang.
Ice cream? It shoots ice cream?
The king wants to use Plankton as a replacement for the deflated bubble, so he lets everyone go, but he removes the Atlantean amulet from the bus to assure no unwanted visitors ever show up again. He then has a guard go throw it away. So that was the story of Atlantis SquarePantis. It's an interactive version of the TV special. The episode copy and pasted over to the game with a few tweaks. What more could we ask for, honestly? SpongeBob stories aren't meant to be taken too seriously. They're supposed to be fun. It's not really all that spectacular, but hey, it's a fucking video game. Atlantis SquarePantis from a gameplay standpoint is nothing more than a collection of minigames and challenges. Minigames in different gameplay segments is something Blitz Games is known for, so this isn't too surprising. Many levels are about completing each section in a timely manner, and the less time you finish with the higher the medal you earn in the end. In other cases, the least amount of buttons you miss in button sequences get you the best medals. We have bronze, silver, and gold medals. Trust me, you don't want bronze.
This is not how you treat someone with a college education.
These medals can be used at the shop to purchase additional content such as bonus level variations, costumes for SpongeBob's Spareface, and concept art. The shop is very similar to the one in Creature from the Krusty Krab, except this one is more complicated. You have to get bronze, silver, and gold on all levels to be able to unlock everything in the shop. At least I think so, unless you use cheat codes, which never worked for me. I haven't even done that. I don't use the feature to dress up SpongeBob for the level screens either. I've played all the level variations recently though. The gameplay, like Creature from the Krusty Krab, has a good amount of variety, but this time there's no platforming unless you're playing on the handheld versions, which are completely different. Some say are better, but I really can't say much since I haven't really played them that much. The gameplay isn't generic, but it's not always good to be honest. It depends on your taste. Sometimes you're controlling a tank that shoots ice cream, shooting targets, breaking open doors, and defeating enemies as Plankton. Other times you find yourself stuck in a maze and having to use your brain to find your way out. For example, Patrick can throw things, SpongeBob can use a spatula to flip stuff, even referencing Spat from the show. Sandy uses her lasso, Mr. Krabs flies over to the treasure with his pockets, which references the episode by the way, and Squidward can use his tentacles to run a treadmill or move the opposite direction down a moving floor. A few times you find yourself in first person taking pictures, throwing Krabby Patties at anyone who's in your way. And of course, the button sequences are very common in this game, whether it's singing, quote unquote, without fucking up too much, going on a tour without random booby traps, or making sure your strip game is on point. In some parts of the game, you occasionally use Sandy in a first-person shooter mode, seeing Sandy's reflection through her helmet. Whether you're collecting money in the treasure room or shooting up guards with tennis balls using Squidward as a gun, with some good old Texas Ranger music, I have to admit Blitz Games can be creative as fuck. But it doesn't all end there. In fact, through purchases in the shop, you're able to unlock bonus arcade games. Instead of simple mini-games you play throughout the story, it's actual arcade games with initials, small local leaderboards, and everything. They come with these 2D character designs you get to pick. You even get a decent amount of games to choose from. I didn't play this game enough as a kid to know this existed, and I just recently found out. The arcade section references the 8-bit scene in the special with the germs. And I actually liked it, especially Slurpee Shooter. That's my shit. It's that extra attention to detail you don't see in SpongeBob games today. I dig it. Something I can't help but notice is the unlockable feature where you can play a level with commentary. It has SpongeBob casually commentating over your gameplay, occasionally giving you fun facts.
Hi, folks. SpongeBob here with another Spongeadelic commentary. Spongeadelic, is that even a real word? Maybe it's one of those fake words that Mr. Krabs tells me not to use. You know, like sauropodomorpha or taxes. I'd love to visit an alien planet like Texas someday. I know I'm not in this level much, and I apologize to all the sponge heads out there, but did you see my little cameo? Right there. I'm not one to brag, but I think that was the performance of a lifetime. I nailed the pathos, the emotion that the scene required. Maybe I should be an actor. I can just see myself on TV, maybe even my own show. Nah, who'd watch a TV show called SpongeBob's SquarePants?
Me, nigga.
You know, I once used my stand-up comedy to tell jokes about how dumb squirrels are. But really, they're amazingly smart creatures. For instance, did you know that it was a gray squirrel who invented gravity and a brown squirrel who invented cottage cheese? Well, that's what Sandy told me anyway.
There's even mouth syncing in gameplay, just like Creature from the Krusty Krab.
Work, work, work.
I love all this attention to detail. It captures the look and feel of a SpongeBob game, and the look and feel of the special it's based off of. But is the gameplay good? I mean, that's a hard question. It's subjective as fuck in this case. Some minigames you may like or some minigames you may not. Either way, you'll be playing all of them because fuck you. Objectively, this can be a fun game, but not always.
It's time to pop it and lock it.
A. You can't review this game without bringing up the soundtrack. The music in Atlantis SquarePantis is fire.
Whoa, this is so amazing that I'm totally amazed.
The episode may have forgettable cringy music, but the music in this game is dope. That's to be expected seeing how the Creature from the Krusty Krab team made this game. They have talented composers. More than 30 tracks were made in a short time span. Most of it is original and it's lit. Only a few of them are from Creature from the Krusty Krab, so no need to get triggered. Different parts throughout a level, the music remixes itself to fit with the environment so it's not the same the entire time. The same thing Creature from the Krusty Krab did. Thumbs up. I love the music in this game. Some of it is upbeat and engaging. You know, that kind of shit that just makes me want to get up. While some of it is chill and mellow, that kind of shit that makes me want to relax. Either way, it all puts a smile on my face.
Scream for me, Atlantis!
Oh shit, SpongeBob about to drop that heat. Yo, turn that shit up. That shit is nice.
Yeah!
You gon' fuck your bitch.
Come on! Scream for me, Atlantis! Yeah!
Excellent. That was music to my diodes.
Who gave this man cocaine? Ugly ass.
Don't worry, buddy. You're doing fine. I won't let you blow.
Uh-oh. Motherfucker. Sorry.
Here we go. So what's wrong with this game? A handful of things. This version of Atlantis SquarePantis is only available on the Wii and PS2. The only difference between the two is graphics and controls. Just like Creature from the Krusty Krab, there is no classic controller support or GameCube controller support, so you're forced to deal with shitty motion controls again. Why? Because the Wii version is just a port of the PS2 version, and the only thing they tweaked was the textures. When they're not low poly, that is. You get that with no widescreen support, once again. I don't know what's worse, turning witch cranks with the Wii remote, or twirling the Wii remote in the air just to use Sandy's lasso. Seriously, fuck this shit. The frame rate in this game, and even Creature from the Krusty Krab, mind you, make no sense. Some levels run in 30 frames, and some levels are in 60 frames. For example, the 4th level is 60 frames on the PS2 and 30 FPS on the Wii. I don't know why, but that shit is fucking retarded, fam. The other SpongeBob games by other developers in this generation are 60 frames. Blitz Games are the only ones that do shit like this in this franchise. Okay, so what else is there to point out? Well, I'm sure many of you noticed that Mr. Krabs wasn't in Creature from the Krusty Krab at all, right? Well, that wasn't just a coincidence. It's because Clancy Brown doesn't always show up to voice Mr. Krabs in SpongeBob games, because he demands more money than the other voice actors. As ironic as that is, knowing that the games have a lower budget than the TV show, he wants more money. Clancy usually showed up in games where Mr. Krabs didn't have a lot of lines, like the movie game. We got really lucky that we had him in Revenge of the Flying Dutchman and Lights Camera Pants. The thing about Atlantis SquarePantis is Mr. Krabs was in the special, so they were forced to put him in the game. That's why he doesn't speak at all at the ticket booth scene here. He used body language instead. But here's the thing, instead of getting a decent replacement like Heavy Iron did in Battle for Bikini Bottom and Truth or Square, such as Joe White or Bob Jones, we get a reduced mumbling bum-ass hyper druggy coke heroin addict. Another thing is, David Bowie may have been a star in the special, voicing the king of Atlantis, but unfortunately they couldn't get him on board for the game. Instead we have a stock Blitz Games voice actor. But like always, most of the main cast is still here to reprise their role. Yeah, if you're wondering what I personally dislike about this game, well, I can tell you. I hate the 2 tank missions because I don't like controlling tanks in any game. It's slow, it's boring, it's repetitive, I hate it. And I find the 2 levels where you have to take pictures the most tedious shit in the entire game, since you can't even control where you're going, for fuck's sake. It's so boring, come on. Everything else is fine really, but I don't think this game is all that. SpongeBob won't even shut the fuck up trying to hold my hand every time I start a level. But disregarding all that shit I just said, I still dig this game and get excited to play it, and for other reasons, I tend to stay away. I'm sure that you can see why. So, above all, is this game worth it? Well, the average person will look at this game and just think it's a stupid SpongeBob game. Well, yeah, it pretty much is. And that can be taken as either a good thing or a bad thing depending on what you're into. It's not the developer's fault the special was mediocre, and it's also not their fault they had a short time frame to make this game, so keep that in mind. It's better than what we have today. I can see that they tried, and I can appreciate the attention to detail. Blitz Games actually watched the special and made a game that feels like the special. That's what their job was to do anyway. You'll even see Team Rockfish hidden throughout the game. Blitz Games would throw references to themselves just like Heavy Iron did. Rest in peace, Blitz Games. I would much rather play your game than watch the episode. However, that doesn't change the fact that this game can get fucking annoying. I'm not gonna be too nice.
You're mean.
The music is amazing, but the game itself is nothing more than decent.
I'll rate it 5 out of 10.
Why 5?
Well, that's like the biggest number I know.
Well, Patrick, I actually enjoy this game sometimes because some of the mini games are actually pretty fun. I love playing music in the magical bus, I love shooting up guards, I love listening to the entertaining dialogue that references the show, hearing Squidward say shit like, "When we get back home, I'm moving back to Squidville." Patrick bringing up how he doesn't know who his parents are, or saying it's heavier than Bubble Bass. The music is actually my main motivation to play this game, along with the arcade games now. I just don't think this game is that bad, but I also can't call this a really good game. The game is only a few hours long, but this game is based on a 40-minute special. Did you really expect the game to be any longer? I mean, there's not really that much material, and they kinda had to get creative with it. They give you all this extra content to extend the game's length, and it doesn't feel that cheap. I think that's fair enough. I try to praise games for the right reasons and bash it for the right reasons. I give this game a 6 out of 10 with an Atlantean amulet. If you can play this game without giving a damn about its issues, like I can sometimes, then I can recommend this game to you. Otherwise, it can pass, yo. My opinion on this game hasn't changed much since 2007. I always liked the game, but I never exactly loved it. Nor did I play it as often as the other SpongeBob games. I still appreciate it and I can get fun out of it. Anyway, I hope you all have enjoyed the video, and if you did, be sure to twerk on that like button and leave a comment below. This has been a Fred review, and I'll see you next time.
This must be where they study anchorology.